Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for your continued support to our channel. I have always maintained on this channel, ladies and gentlemen, that our Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is a man under siege, and he himself has boxed himself into a corner. He continues to make political miscalculations that he regrets. Rigathi Gachagua appeared on a morning show on Kameme FM. This meeting was really hyped, and it was announced all over that people should tune in and listen to what the deputy president was going to say. Because this show was taking place at a time when Rigathi Gachagua is championing a crackdown on illicit brews and alcohol that he's saying is finishing their people in Mount Kenya, and he is determined to eradicate this menace. This meeting was also taking place at a time when Mount Kenya farmers are crying foul over the Finance Bill 2023 that contains, among other things, levies that they feel are burdening them, and of course levies that were voted in under the patronage of Rigathi Gachagua when he rallied the support of all the MPs from Mount Kenya. And of course there were a lot of things that were surrounding the discussion, including the NADCO report that is now about to be taken to Parliament to be adopted, something that he had rejected. And Rigathi Gachagua said very many things, that two things stood out that are being discussed, and if you go to social media, they are trending. Number one, for the very first time, Rigathi Gachagua embraced the National Dialogue Committee report, something that he had rejected from its inception, before, during, and after. Rigathi Gachagua had never had a soft spot for this report, for the meeting that was being chaired by Kimani Ichung'wah for the government and Kalonzo Musyoka for the opposition. But today, or while appearing in that morning show, Rigathi embraced that report, number one. Number two, Rigathi Gachagua for the second time took that golden opportunity and offered an apology to the first family, Mama Ngina, for the atrocities and insults that they hurled against the first family. And that is exactly what I want us to discuss, because it is unthinkable that Rigathi Gachagua would embrace the NADCO report and plead for the second time for the first family. Now, he was speaking in the Kikuyu language. The interpreters had this to say. On the NADCO report, this is what the interpreters are saying, that the NADCO report is good, even though previously I had several concerns about it. He admits that he had concerns, but it is now good. Number two, another interpretation says that one of the things that he said was, I have not seen any signs of a handshake between President Ruto and Raila Odinga. Because currently people are saying that there could be a working formula between Raila and Ruto, and if there is something that had informed Rigathi Gachagua's decision to object the national dialogue negotiations in Bomas, is because of this thing about any kind of handshake, and he had maintained that Raila wanted to get to the government through the back door. Now he's saying that he has not seen anything like that. On the forgiveness, several media houses interpreted, but the vector is pointing to the fact that Rigathi Gachagua is begging for forgiveness. This is what the Star interpreted. That Rigathi Gachagua spoke in the Kikuyu language, and he was saying, in 2022, politics had deteriorated to a deplorable state. There was a regrettable lack of respect, with insults being hurled at Mama Ngina, and I'm very sorry for that. We humbly request her. We humbly request her forgiveness. That is what the Star is saying. And K24 is interpreting what Gachagua said at Kameme FM, that he said, we insulted Mamangina Kenyatta in 2022 as a result of bad politics. I plead with her to forgive us. I will not allow such politics to happen again in Mount Kenya region. That is K24. I'm compiling this so that you can understand because it was spoken in Kikuyu language. KBC is saying this. I am really sorry for involving Mamangina Kenyatta in the last general election politics. She is our mother. I therefore ask for forgiveness on behalf of our team for any inconveniences caused to her. I will never allow anyone to demean her or anyone from the region. And then Kenyans.co is saying 2022 politics had become so dirty. It had reached a point where we had lacked respect, hurling insults to Mamangina. I wouldn't again like the Mount Kenya community to get to that point of lacking respect for our elders. I would like to ask for forgiveness from Mamangina. And then, ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, Citizen is reporting that I am sorry, forgive us. DP Gachagua apologizes to Mamangina for mudslinging her during elections. I compiled all this so that we can understand that the main thing that Rigathi Gachagua said was that in 2002, they engaged the first family and hurled insults and did deplorable things, and he's now asking for forgiveness on his own behalf and on behalf of the team that did this. And he's saying he will never allow such a thing to happen. Now, for the Nadigo report, it is the first time Rigathi Gachagua is embracing it. For Mamangina and the family, this is the second time that is begging for forgiveness. Now, I want to say this. If you see Rigathi Gachagua running to media houses begging for forgiveness, it means Mamangina and the family have not forgiven Rigathi Gachagua. Why? If he had been forgiven, he would be running to media houses. Why is it so difficult for Rigathi Gachagua to call Uhuru Kenyatta, to drive to Mamangina's home and tell her, please, politics is always dynamic. I was carried away, but now I want to beg for forgiveness. It seems he's even afraid of, approaching them because of what he did. Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to look at reasons why Rigathi Gachagua is still begging for forgiveness from a family that he had demeaned. He told us Uhuru Kenyatta is the author of all the social, economic and political problems that we are facing today. He accused Uhuru Kenyatta of a man who neglected the Kikuyu community after they had overwhelmingly voted for him. And he said Uhuru Kenyatta was captured by Raila and he was taking all development projects to Kisumu. Ruto himself said he had been pushed to the periphery and therefore he was not performing his roles as deputy president. It was Raila who was advising Uhuru Kenyatta. They have said Uhuru Kenyatta never had any good projects for them. They have said that the Mamangina family was not paying any taxes. They had, negated their role of paying taxes. And they even said that Uhuru Kenyatta engaged in state capture, that all the institutions were captured and they were working to promote the family businesses of Uhuru Kenyatta. Not only did they stop there, you all know that under the patronage of Rigathi Gachagua, they charged youths who went to Uhuru's Northland farm and they invaded it, set it ablaze, cut down trees, took away sheep. They withdrew Mamangina's security. They charged some policemen to go and intimidate Uhuru's son. During the inauguration ceremony, Rigathi did not spare Uhuru Kenyatta, a man who, even though he would have wanted Raila to be elected, accepted to hand over power after William Ruto was declared the president. And in front of guests, presidents and dignitaries from all over the world, Rigathi Gachagua read a riot act to Uhuru Kenyatta and said unforgivable things against him. The question is, a person they said had taken away money, they said they inherited, empty coffers. Why would Rigathi Gachagua be begging for forgiveness? He's the deputy president. He's earning a lot of money for that. If you ask me, he's got security. He has declared himself as the Mount Kenya kingpin. Why would he still be begging for a family that he had declared non-entity, a family that did not matter in the political affairs in Mount Kenya? That is exactly what I want us to look at. And if you allow me, ladies and gentlemen, number one, Rigathi Gachagua has realized that Ruto was misusing him. Ruto gave him a poisoned chalice. In the process of intimidating and threatening and frustrating the Kenyatta family, you never once saw William Ruto taking a lead role. It was Rigathi Gachagua, Ndindi Nyoro, Kimani Chungwa, and the rest. And William Ruto was very careful to ensure that there was no Rift Valley leader, a leader from Rift Valley, who took a lead role. When all this was happening, William Ruto could, make some pronouncements in rallies, but he never once took the lead role. And he wanted Rigathi Gachagua to ensure that their relationship between him and the Kenyatta family went sour to an extent that it could be irreconcilable. In Rift Valley, you have seen people like Keter trying, sometimes speaking ill of William Samoei Ruto, but you never see William Ruto going after them. In fact, it was Rigathi Gachagua who, took that opportunity when William Ruto was second, and he was telling them, I will not allow this. While William Ruto is a bit passive, he does not, go full throttle against those Rift Valley MPs who are criticizing him. Rigathi Gachagua was set to ensure that he punishes everyone who does not read from the same political page like him. And he has realized that William Ruto is definitely a political, do I call it conman or genius? I don't know. It all depends on how you look at it. And Rigathi is now trying to retreat his steps because, as I said, he has been cornered. Uhuru's silence is killing Rigathi Gachagua. He had accused Uhuru Kenyatta as the man who neglected the Mount Kenya family. But when Uhuru went silent, he has realized that there are no projects that are being initiated in Mount Kenya. They are projects that Uhuru himself had initiated. There are questions whether William Ruto has a mega project from State House that was not initiated by Uhuru Kenyatta. Even as we speak today, the Mount Kenya farmers are crying foul over the avocado levies, something that Rigathi Gachagua himself rallied the Mount Kenya members of parliament to vote in, and they were laughing at the opposition, telling them that they didn't have the numbers. When the opposition went to the streets to lament and show their frustrations against that bill that contained levies, Rigathi Gachagua told Mount Kenya that they wanted to sabotage Ruto's projects and that Raila was hell-bent on ensuring that they kill Kikuyu businesses. Now, after Uhuru went quiet, the avocado farmers are crying foul. And Rigathi Gachagua is now pretending to be holding meetings, and he is composing some committee to ensure that they look into, problems that avocado farmers are facing. Yet it is very clear that it is the Finance Bill 2023. Things like the housing levy, the cost of living is going higher and higher. And people are asking, so then, you told us Uhuru was bad. Are you doing anything different? The UDA government is worse than what he had told Mount Kenya about the Jubilee government. And he's frustrated about this. He doesn't know what to do. That silence is exposing Rigathi Gachagua that he's a liar, that they are even the worst government that has ever been seen. It is no longer sustainable to use Raila's name or Uhuru's name for survival, for excuses. We found empty coffers. I don't know, this happened. It was Uhuru. People are telling him Uhuru is no longer the president. Raila is no longer there. Stop using their name. In fact, Raila unleashed Babu Owino, Sifuna Edwin, and Eddie, the senator of Bigori, when they went for a burial in Nyeri. And these people had a message to Rigathi Gachagua. They told him, Rigiji, you've realized you made a mistake of compelling your members of parliament to pass the finance bill 2023, and your avocado farmers are now crying. Bring that bill, bring it back to the parliament. On the floor, we will discuss and we will amend the sections that are frustrating your farmers. It is your farmers who are crying for. And you see, when people try to look at all this, how do you still say that Uhuru was bad, Raila was bad, if his people are telling you to bring back this in parliament? They voted against it, but you forced your members to vote for it. And Raila was going to the streets to tell, to fight for the very things that your farmers are now crying for. He has been identified as someone who is, was just playing petty politics, and it is no longer sustainable to malign Uhuru's name, to malign Raila's name. It is clear that Raila has decided to keep quiet, his silence. Raila is campaigning to go to the AU, to become the AU Commission chairman. And Ruto and the government of the day is supporting Raila with the resources and all that is campaigning for Raila. And Rigathi Gachagua will look like a madman if he isolates himself and still wants to deny the NADCO report. He's realizing that the more he lives in denial, the more Kenya is uniting. He's always spoke about the shareholders, and people are telling him everyone is a taxpayer. And William Ruto is trying to embrace the whole country because William Ruto is busy fighting for his survival in 2027 and is trying to embrace the communities that never voted for him. While Rigathi Gachagua is still stuck in the old mentality of shareholders, William Ruto is telling people we can always work together in his appointments and all this. And Rigathi is realizing that he needs to get along, otherwise he will be isolated and it will be the whole country against Rigathi Gachagua. This is also a 2027 politics. Rigathi has realized that William Ruto might not even go with him because you hear things, you've had undertones about Ndindi Nyoro, you've had Madividi, Musalia Mudavadi, and Rigathi is not very sure. There is uncertainty that is surrounding the succession politics. And Rigathi knows very well that William Ruto has succeeded in isolating him from his own people. When you fight the Kenyatta family, you fight those who would have, stand by your side. When you are neglected by your coalition, then you are doomed. William Ruto ensured that Rigathi does not get away with the Kamba community. He insulted Kalonzo. He does not get along with the sons of Mulembe because they're not reading from the same page with Musalia Mudavadi because of the rivalry, political rivalry within the coalition. The same way Rigathi Gachagua is not getting along with the Luo community and the Nyanza as a whole because he insulted Raila Odinga. So William Ruto ensured that Rigathi remains alone, and so he's trying to embrace the Uhuru family, knowing very well that Uhuru is still Udhamaki. Uhuru Kenyatta is still very influential in that family. He needs him for his 2027 politics, because without Uhuru, if Uhuru decides to join hands with the formation that Martha Karua and the other people are trying to form, then I'm telling you, Rigathi will be doomed and will be left alone. And that is the reason why Rigathi Gachagua is still pleading, begging for this mercy. Whether the Kenyatta family will forgive him, we wait and see. If you are Kenyatta family, would you forgive Rigathi Gachagua? And I know politics, it is dynamic, but Rigathi has shot himself in the foot. He's trying to retrieve his steps. Whether he will get the right steps and come back, we wait and see. And that is my take.